Hi everyone, good morning. This is Ida with Created to Create. As promised, yesterday I posted on Instagram that I was going to do my candle tutorial. And it's kind of hard to do because you have to heat it up in the microwave and all that good stuff. And my microwave doesn't seem to like when I try to melt the soy wax in the microwave, it kind of sparks. So I wasn't able to do that, so I had to do a double broiler. And what that is that you add water to a bowl, and then you put your candle flakes, your soy flakes, into a another container and set it inside the bowl of water for it to melt. So that I already pre-did that, but I will show it to you. And you can heat it up directly on the stove. They do have like it's like an aluminum pitcher that you can put on the stove and to melt your wax, but you have to be very careful, you know, the temperature, you don't want to burn it and stuff like that. So I chose to do the double broiler method, but if your microwave allows you to do this without acting up, then I would definitely say do the microwave. Because I have done it before and didn't have any issues, but now for some reason the microwave just doesn't like it. So anyway, that being said, you can do a double broiler as I did. So I already melted my wax, and I'm just going to share with you a few things I've learned along the way. And one of them was that that not all candle wicks are the same. For example, I bought some wicks. All the ones that are in here are from, these are from Amazon, but I have bought them before on at the craft store at Hobby Lobby, and they don't burn the same. And what happens with that, I'm going to move these out of the way, the ones we're going to work with, to share with you what I'm talking about. What happens is that when you use a wick that is not appropriate for the wax that you're using, or the fragrance, or the size even of your container, what happens that it does like a melt pool, and it doesn't go all the way to the edge. See, even this one is not the correct size for this size of cup. This is a full-size teacup, and this wick, even though it's better than what you buy at Hobby Lobby and places like that, it still wasn't big. It wasn't the right wick for the diameter of my cup. And I've spent a lot of money on wicks, guys. Let me tell you, please don't just run out and buy wicks, because they're not all the same. But I did notice that Hobby Lobby now has the Eco wicks, which this is an Eco wick. And this one would have worked perfectly in the smaller cups that I just did. But on this particular cup, I needed it to be an Eco, I think it was either a 10 or a 12. And I kind of made a mistake and didn't get or maybe even an Eco 8. And I didn't get the right size. Nonetheless, you know, there's a lot of videos on how to make candles. The best advice I can tell you is either buy a really good book on making soy candles or any type of candles, or to watch videos, because they're very informative, you know, and just kind of pay attention and, you know, type in your search bar, you know, what type of wicks to use and stuff like that. Because like I said, there's a lot of videos out there. People just go to Hobby Lobby and just buy any wicks, and that doesn't work, guys. It really doesn't work. I recommend watching videos by people that this is what they do for a living. This is their business. Either they make candles and sell them for a living, or they sell the candle supplies. That's the best place you're going to get very informative information. So anyway, this wick size is the wrong size for this cup. And this is a regular teacup size. And I have bought some at the like Goodwills, thrift stores, stuff like that. But another source where I do look for cups is Home Goods, because they have the most beautiful tea sets and they're very pretty. So that's where I bought my smaller ones that I'm working with right now. And I think this one too. This one even came from Home Goods, and it was the cup and the saucer. It was a set, and it came with the spoons. And I believe it was 2 cups, 2 saucers, and I'm not sure if the spoons came with it or if I bought them separate, but I did get them at Home Goods. And then you can embellish any way you like, but keep in mind that when you embellish, if this gets dusty, this is not something you really want to put in the sink. You're going to just want to dust it or wipe it or something. So be careful if you put anything. For example, right here I used some little applique hearts. Maybe that wasn't the best choice. The spoon is fine because I can wipe that. The little nest is even fine because I can wipe that. Even the pearls are not bad because really this is not something you're going to dip in water. And when you burn your candles out, don't throw this away, especially if you're going to learn how to make candles, because you can reuse your container. So for me, I have melted this a couple times. And 2, if you find yourself that you put in the wrong wick and it's not burning completely, it should reach all the way to the edge, guys, of your cup, the diameter of your jar or your cup. And if you find yourself that it's not the appropriate one, take your heat gun and just heat it all the way around, and you can pop that candle right out and remelt it. Just take the wick out and remelt it. So don't throw it away. Don't throw your wax away, and definitely don't throw your container away, because that you can pop the candle out. So that being said, because I've done this a couple of times to this one, because I've been testing out different wicks, and when I thought I had the right one, I did have the right one, guys, but I ordered the wrong one. So then I reordered the right ones, and I just haven't melted it again. But like I said, this is not correct. It should reach all the way to the edge. Now, I'm going to move this aside, and I'm going to share with you also what you need. You need some type of candle fragrance to use. And this is not an oil. This is a, well, this is a fragrance oil. It's not like a what are the other oils? There's other oils that are not fragrant oils that aren't good for this. And this is a fragrance oil. This is perfectly fine to use with my soy candle. And this is actually the Gain scent. I love the smell of clean laundry, guys. So Abby and I both do. And so that's the reason I bought this one. And this is a liquid form. And this was kind of pricey for 2 ounces. But if you're making it for yourself, for me, when I'm making something for myself, because I'm not going to sell it, it doesn't matter to me what it costs. If I like it, and I think that I can afford to do it, then I go ahead and do it. So that's why I bought that. And it wasn't crazy, but it was like $15 or $16, something like that. So, it was a bit pricey. This is the wax that I use. Let me open it up. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and it's $9.99, a 2-pound bag. And these are the chips. As you can see, they're little chips. And 100% soy wax. And you can melt this in the microwave. But if I decide to keep making candles, I did have been watching some videos, and there's some really good wax that I think I would like to try. But definitely, it depends on you. If you're just doing it for you, this is fine. But if you want to, as a business, do your homework. That's the best thing I can tell you. Do your homework. Another thing, like I said, don't just buy any wick. Make sure you're paying attention, watching videos, because they do a lot of testing in different jars to see what wick is the perfect size for that jar. And because if it's too small, what happens, it makes it like a little tunnel in the center, and your wick burns out, and your candle will never burn. You won't get it to light again. And you have to remelt it and pop it out and remelt it and put a different type of wick. So definitely do your homework about the wicks. Now, the ones that I'm using are the Eco 6 Cotton Core. And these came from the Virginia Candle Company. I'm not sure if I bought them on Amazon or I went directly to their website, guys. But there it is. There's their website. There's all the information that you need. And they are an Eco 6 that I'm using for my candles. So always you have to measure the diameter of your container. Another thing that you need is some type of These, what they do is they hold the wick in place so it's perfectly centered. It doesn't shift or anything. That's what these are for. And there's different types out there. There's like a metal bar, like an aluminum bar that I want to get. But this is what I have for now. And I only have one. So that doesn't do me any good. If you're going to make several candles, then you're going to need several of them. You can use clothespins as well, guys, if they're long enough to go on the perimeter of your candle. Me personally, I like to have all the right tools. That's just a me thing. Now, I'm going to share with you the cups that I bought. These are the cups, the set that I bought at, let me move this out of the way. This is the set that I bought at Hobby Lobby. I mean, not Hobby Lobby, at Home Goods. And they're really pretty. Look at how pretty those little cups are. And they weren't real bad. I think they were right there. They were $12.99. It's upside down, but you can see. They were $12.99. Let me put it the right way, I guess. They were $12.99 for the set of 4 saucers and the 4 cups. So that's what I picked up to do my candles. And I am going to have to take one out of there. And this is one that I already did. You're also going to need some type of coloring. Did I grab that? Let me grab the coloring. They sell these color squares at Hobby Lobby. And these are $2.49, and this is the red, and they do have several colors. But if you notice, I just took out a little piece from this block, and it made it so deep because I was using a small quantity. So be careful with this, that you make sure you use, it's better to put not enough than too much, and then you don't have, you know, it's too dark for what you want. And all I did was just kind of break it up with a plastic knife, or any tool that you decide you're going to use for candle making. Just separate it in a container and use it strictly for candle making. And if you notice on these two, this one is darker than this one because this was the first batch. I wish that you could smell this, because even without it being lit up, I can smell the fragrance in it. And I may have overdone it, but you know, I'm just I'm learning. I'm still learning, guys. So I think it is for every pound of soy wax, you use 1.5 ounces of the fragrance. But because I'm doing small quantities, I'm really not measuring. So it's good if you're going to do this as a hobby that you're really going to get into, buy the right tools, guys. Buy your scale, your digital scale, your thermometer, your measuring cups. You know, you want to have the right tools. Your things to hold the wicks, the correct wicks. So make sure you do all that if you're going to make this into like a real hobby that you're going to continue to do. I don't hardly ever do it, so I don't have all the right tools. But if I decide, you know, this is something I want to do, then definitely I would buy all the right tools. And even for a hobby, for me, for here and there, I still want to get the right tools. That's just the way I am. But because I don't like to struggle. I like to have everything that I need to be able to do my job or my craft to the best of my ability. So this one is already glued down. See, I can pick it up by the cup, and I glued it down. And this is what I use, the Goop 2. And you can find that at a hardware store. You can find it at Walmart. You can find them just about anywhere. You can even find it in a craft store. And that's what I use to glue the cup down right in the center, and also the spoon. And I didn't add any added embellishments because I thought about the cleaning part of this. Would I be able to put this in something and clean it off if I had all the other extra stuff on there? So I'm going to leave it plain and simple, and whoever the recipient is, if they decide, they can add more things to it. You know, I'm just going to keep it pretty and simple like this. So that's it, like I said, the first one that I made, and that has been sitting overnight, and it is recommended that you let these cure at least, I'm going to say, it says 3 days, but because these are so small, I'm going to say 2 days on these little small ones, because look at, it's on the palm of my hand. There it is, how small it is. And this is only, I think, about a 2-inch in, it's about no, maybe a little over 2.5 inches in diameter. So I think that this Eco 6 is going to work perfectly because the pool that is going to do, the melting pool, is like this. And this is about the size that the diameter of these cups are. So I think it's going to work perfectly. I'm going to try it, test it out before I send them out, because remember, I can always remelt more wax and make it again in a different scent, in a different color, whatever I want to do. But I want to test it before I send it to anybody and make sure that it burns correctly. So, and it somehow, it developed this little white, lighter pink ring around it. And sometimes that's not a good thing. Not that it's bad, just the coloring. But I kind of like it, so it doesn't bother me one bit. I'm going to leave it that way. And my spoon is not glued on either yet. But I do adhere these on also with the goop. So I just wanted to share that with you. Let me give you a close-up of the saucer. Here is the saucer that I bought. I think they're nice and shabby. There is the cup. It does have the gold on the ring, the brim, and the handle, and on the base here. So I think they're really, really pretty. And the spoons, of course, they're a gold tone finish with, again, the rose right there at the handle. So I think these are a perfect match. And the only way I would use the ones that you get at the craft store that are just generic wicks, I would, in something really small like this, guys, a little votive or something. And I'm going to try one on this and burn it and see how it burns, just so I'll know. And let's get started, you guys, because I already have my stuff pre-done. So I'm going to add one of these wicks to this little cup right here in the middle. And they do have some adhesive tabs that you can use to set these down. Now, you can do hot glue as well. You can add a little dab of hot glue right here and set it down in the middle. But because I have these, and I think these are heat resistant, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the bottom of my wick. And then I'll peel off the carrier piece and just glue it down in the center. And hopefully I'll get the center. There it is. I think this will be fine. So I'm going to do this one with that little regular generic wick. And again, this here are the little adhesives for that. And I'm not going to use this on my, yeah, I think I will, on my other one. So these are just, like I said, the generic ones that you can get on Amazon, at Hobby Lobby. And two, guys, these are really long, the wicks that I use, the Eco 6. And because these are good wicks, I'm not going to throw away the piece that I cut off, because you're supposed to trim it. You're supposed to trim them to, you're supposed to trim them 1/4 inch from the top. You're only supposed to leave about 1/4 inch on the top of the wick. So this is, of course, the bigger wicks. And this is what I had done after I trimmed it off. But they do sell these little discs right here to make more. So I'm just going to get some disc and reuse these pieces because I know these are good ones. And again, I'm going to just take the carrier off, and I'm going to put my disc right on top of that. And then I'm going to add that to my cup. Let me grab another cup from the set. So here's another one of my little cups. Look how pretty they are. And make sure okay, these are not microwave safe, and that's fine because I'm not going to microwave these. But if you get a microwave one, that would probably be even better. Not that you're going to microwave it, but at least you know it is heat resistant. But you know, just about any teacup does, you know, can take heat pretty well. So I'm going to set this in the center, and then what I'm going to do, guys, see the center bar right here? I'm going to just thread it through there. There it is, and it's going to sit right there. And I'm going to, it's got a little notch. If you can see that little notch right there, I'm going to slip the wick right into that little notch. That way, it doesn't come out. So no matter what happens, my wick is going to sit straight in my cup. So there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and get the wax because I already melted it. Here is my wax already melted. Let me move these a little bit back. Here's my wax already melted. Now this, even though it looks like a dark red, it is going to be lighter because I did add more to what I already had left over from the first two. So this is going to be even lighter. But I can tell it still smells really good, guys. Oh, it smells nice, but I can tell that it still needs more fragrance. So at this point, I'm going to add a little bit more fragrance, and I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to squeeze in what I think is a good amount, you know, just by what I can smell. Go ahead and mix it up. Make sure your fragrance is nice and mixed up where it goes through all the soy wax and not just concentrated in one area. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this. And I know there's a certain temperature that you have to pour these by, guys, but because I don't have the thermometer and I don't have a lot of the equipment you need, and this is not for resale, this is just for my personal self, it doesn't matter because the pouring heat has a lot to do with if you get that ring that I got on mine or not. But if that doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter. But I think you usually pour it at between 100 and 120 degrees. That's the perfect range to pour into your container. And you do add the fragrance after you take it out. And sometimes it's got to be a certain temperature. You're just going to have to read the directions, you know, manufacturer's directions. And I've had this sitting out for a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and pour. And I'm just using, like I said, I poured my chips into this little plastic container, and then I got a pot, poured water in it, and let it come to a simmer, and I put the little bowl inside the water, just floating on top of the water, like a water bath, and let it melt like that. That's called a double boiler. So that's how I did that. And I'm going to go ahead and pour because mine is ready, and it's really simple, guys. I hope I am. And make sure you don't fill it up too much. You don't want the top of your candle. I spilled on my table. You don't want the top of your candle to, and I'm going to pour this in here. And this, I don't have anything holding the wick, but I'm going to, ooh, look at that. Perfect for both of them. I'm going to, it seems to be doing okay without the little holder, maybe because it's a small container, a small candle. I don't know, not sure. Okay, there it is. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Oh, I love it. Let me move this out of the way before I make a mess, because I tend to do that. And pretty much, guys, that's all there is to it. You pour them, you let them sit. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. But see how this wick, even though it's bent this way, that's going to cut. I'm going to cut that piece off so it doesn't matter. But what's in the cup is perfectly centered, and it's being held in place by this little wick holder. So that's how you do this. And like I said, when I cut this piece off, I'm going to put it away, put it back in my Eco 6 so I know what type of wick it is. And then I'll get the little disc and make my own wick. Because all you do is just kind of push them into the little whole little tubing on top, and you crimp it. And I believe that's all there is to it. But anyway, guys, this is what I wanted to share with you before my phone. It only records a certain amount of time, then it shuts off. But this is what they look like once they're all set, but you have to leave them for a couple of hours. Look at how pretty they are. So pretty. And you can find, like I said, you can find them in thrift stores just about anywhere. But if you want to find a whole complete set, I recommend that you go either online or to a Home Goods or something like that and buy a set and decorate as little as much as you want. In the first ones I created, I did add more. Like I said, I added the little nest with the pearl strand right here. I even added, like this is an old earring with a butterfly, and then it has a little charm hanging that says refresh. But I wouldn't recommend the bow here, guys, because that was really an error on my part because we have fire up here. So you don't want ribbon here. So I don't think that's a good idea. You can put a bow on it, but definitely has to be removed before burning the candle. And when I test these out, guys, I will let you know if the Eco 6 worked or if it was an overkill or what I needed to do to adjust it, because I do want to get it right. Even if it's just for me, I want to get it right. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that this helped you. Like, I really didn't show you a lot. All I did was pour this into the little plastic container, put my little pieces of the coloring, which is this, and to do pink, I get red and just use very little, and melted it all together because that will melt, and sometimes it'll leave pieces of chips on the bottom, but that won't be visible. But you do want to melt it as much as possible. And I poured this in there, poured my color in there, melted it in the double boiler. And then when it was all nice and melted, took it out. Then I added my fragrance. I didn't add my fragrance and then heat it up. No, the fragrance I added after I took it out of the heat. And then I poured it into my cups. Now all I have to do is let it sit. After a couple of hours, I'll be able to move this because it'll be solidified enough that it doesn't mess up. But other than that, that's really all there is to it. And if you're going to do this to sell or whatever, I would say get educated as far as candle making goes, the wicks, the types of wax and all that good stuff. Because when you put out a product like that and you want to sell it, you want to make sure you did it right. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope everyone is having a great day and God bless. Bye. Let me see if I can turn this off, guys.